Have you ever asked yourself, that morning cup of coffee we've been drinking for decades, could it be quietly affecting our health? I've had many patients in their 60s and 70s tell me, "Doctor, I can't quit coffee, but sometimes my body has a strange reaction." One person said that after just one cup, their heart would race so fast they'd have to sit down and take a deep breath to feel better. Another complained of a gnawing, uncomfortable feeling in their stomach all day. The interesting thing is, not all coffee is the same. Some types you might think are healthy can actually pose risks. Conversely, there are brewing methods that can reduce the strain on your heart, bones, and even your memory. I want you to imagine with me, a simple change to your daily cup of coffee could lead to a completely different kind of old age, one that is healthier and more peaceful, and that's exactly what we're going to explore in today's video. I remember a patient named Robert, a 67-year-old from Ohio. He came to see me feeling pretty anxious because his cardiologist had told him his cholesterol was unusually high. As we talked, I asked about his diet and exercise habits, and eventually we uncovered something interesting. Robert started every morning with a strong cup of French press coffee. He was proud of this habit, calling it his essential morning ritual. But that specific type of coffee, because it isn't filtered through paper, retains a lot of coffee oils containing cafestol, a compound that can raise LDL cholesterol, also known as bad cholesterol. When I explained this, Robert sat in quiet thought for a long time before saying, "Doctor, I never thought the way I made my coffee would affect my heart." His story made me realize that so many of us are the same. We love coffee, but we rarely ask, is the coffee I drink every day nourishing my health or silently wearing it down? In contrast to French press, there's a type of coffee I often recommend to patients with sensitive stomachs or heart issues: cold brew. Cold brew has up to 70% less acidity than regular hot coffee. This means if you've ever felt heartburn, acid reflux, or indigestion after drinking coffee, cold brew might be a much gentler option. And importantly, cold brew still maintains a high level of antioxidants, compounds that can protect cells from aging, helping to care for your heart and memory. Have you ever noticed that a small change in a habit can open up a new path for your health? Robert later switched from French press to cold brew. 3 months later, when he came back for a checkup, his LDL cholesterol had dropped significantly. He smiled and told me, "It turns out sometimes you don't have to give up coffee. You just have to change how you drink it." I want you to imagine this. What if every morning cup of coffee wasn't just a habit, but a natural medicine that nourishes your body? How much more peaceful would aging be? And it all starts with one question. What kind of coffee is truly right for me? One afternoon in my California office, a 62-year-old patient named Linda told me she had switched to instant coffee, thinking it was lighter and less harmful to her heart. "Doctor, I thought instant coffee was just like a cup of tea, probably safer," she said with a laugh. But the reality is far more complicated. Instant coffee, especially those with caramel, vanilla, or chocolate flavors, often contains hidden sugars, artificial fats, and synthetic flavorings. These ingredients put a heavy burden on the liver and kidneys and promote silent inflammation in the body. I once read a study that showed frequent instant coffee consumption could cause significant blood sugar fluctuations, especially in people at risk of prediabetes. And that was likely the reason Linda often felt tired and irritable after drinking a coffee she thought was so gentle. Another thing few people consider is decaf coffee. While it sounds safe, if it's processed with chemicals like methylene chloride, it carries a long-term risk. This chemical, though used in small amounts, can affect the liver, nervous system, and even memory over time. I've seen many patients who thought decaf would help them avoid insomnia and anxiety, only to face other issues years later, things they never would have expected. I often tell my patients that coffee is just one part of their health journey, but it's a crucial one because we drink it every day, for decades. It's like building a house. If you place a brick wrong, a little bit each day, the whole wall will be crooked later on. The same goes for coffee. A wrong choice today can leave a silent mark on your body years from now. So instead of thinking, any coffee is fine as long as it tastes good, give yourself the right to choose more carefully. Coffee isn't just for waking up, it's for nourishing. And that only happens when you know what's in your cup. I want to tell you about an old friend of mine, Michael, a 70-year-old former history teacher. He still has his morning ritual of sitting by the window, reading the paper, and sipping a cup of coffee. But unlike Robert or Linda, whom I've told you about, Michael chooses paper-filtered coffee. When I asked him why, he smiled and said, I once heard a doctor say that a paper filter can hold back the cafe stall oils that are bad for the heart. I figured if all it takes is a piece of paper to protect my heart, why wouldn't I do it? His simple answer has stayed with me ever since. And it's true, science has proven that paper-filtered coffee removes most of the cafe stall, the culprit that raises LDL cholesterol. Not only that, a paper-filtered cup of coffee still maintains its rich, clean flavor, just enough to wake you up without putting too much strain on your heart. Another option I highly recommend is organic coffee. It's grown without synthetic pesticides or chemicals, which limits the toxic residue that can get into your body. I once advised a patient with a mild liver condition to try switching from regular to organic coffee, and after a year, his liver function improved significantly. Of course, it wasn't just the coffee, but I believe every clean choice contributes to a big difference. And do you remember the cold brew I mentioned? With much lower acidity than hot coffee, it's like a gentle friend for a sensitive stomach. For many patients over 60, simply switching to cold brew has made them feel more comfortable and ease that post-breakfast discomfort. But the point I want to emphasize here isn't just which kind to drink, but how we view our own aging. When you hit 50 or 60, each cup of coffee is no longer just about the caffeine to stay awake. It becomes a symbol of how you cherish your body. You can choose quick convenience, or you can choose a slow, careful, and healthy approach. It's like life itself. The older you get, the more you learn to choose what's truly essential and let go of what's not. I want you to try this for tomorrow. When you hold that cup of coffee in your hands, ask yourself, is this coffee nourishing me, or is it quietly taking something away? The answer might just change your entire journey through old age. Dear friend, we've taken a short journey together, from familiar cups of coffee with hidden risks to more thoughtful and healthier choices for our hearts, stomachs, and minds. Maybe you still love the strong aroma of brewed coffee, or you're used to the convenience of instant coffee. But today, I hope you'll pause for a moment and listen to your body, because sometimes just a small change, like choosing paper-filtered or cold brew coffee, can lead to a healthier and more peaceful old age. I know each of us has a personal story connected to our morning coffee. Maybe it's a moment of conversation with a loved one, or a quiet moment watching the morning sun from your porch. That's why I truly want to hear from you. How has coffee been a part of your life? Have you ever had uncomfortable reactions after drinking it? Please share in the comments, because your story might just resonate with someone looking for a connection. If you found this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you'd like and share it with loved ones, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. In the upcoming videos, I'll continue to share more interesting and practical insights about health after 50, from sleep and nutrition to preserving memory and the joy of life. Thank you for your time, for listening, and for joining me on this journey. See you in the next video, where we'll discover more secrets to living longer, healthier, and happier.